What's up, Eagles Nation? This is Bry with Eagles Real Talk. The Fly is covering the Eagles in the game, and we are 6 practices in through the training camp session so far. And I'm going to go through the 53-man roster prediction as of right now through 6 practices. And we're just going to get straight into it today. But if you haven't already, hit that subscribe and that like button if you enjoyed this video. Let's get straight into it with the quarterbacks. Let's just start at the top. Obviously, Jalen Hurts is QB1. He's a lock for the roster, obviously. Minshew has actually struggled in camp, but since he is the veteran and, he could be a trade asset down the line, I don't see us cutting him, but he could possibly be traded. Reid Sinnette has actually had a very impressive camp from all reports. He has a strong arm. I think he's actually a solid player. I think he could be a solid backup. So I could see us possibly making a move, trading Minshew, and, gaining some more draft capital and keeping Reid Sinnette as the backup. I could definitely see that happening. Carson Strong, he has had pretty much a bad camp so far from everything that I've read and heard. So I see us either cutting him and trying to put him on the practice squad or something, or, I don't know. It's really not that big of a deal as far as Carson Strong anyways. He was more of a project anyways. If you know about his medical history, his knees, like he had to have cadavers put in his knee. It's a long story, and I don't even want to get into it because it kind of grosses me out. But Carson Strong, I don't see him making the roster. Let's get straight into the running backs. So Miles Sanders, RB1. Kenny Gainwell, RB2. I think Kenny Gainwell is going to get a lot of passes out of the backfield this year. So I think he's going to get a substantial amount of snaps this year compared to his rookie year last year, which was impressive. I think he had a handful of touchdowns. Miles Sanders struggled in that area. He struggled in the red zone. So I could definitely see Kenny Gainwell getting a handful of snaps this year. Boston Scott, I think he's the RB3. I think he's basically that kind of running back, that switch army knife. Like he can go in there and kind of do everything. He can catch it. He can run solid. I think he's solid at protection as well, pass protection. So I think he's a lock at number 3. Jason Huntley, I think he's actually a good running back. I could see us keeping him, but I think we're going to try to stash him on the practice squad. Wide receivers. So that's obviously a big question going into camp. Who's going to make those final couple spots? But let's start at the top with A.J. Brown, number 11. You know what I mean? He's obviously the wide receiver 1 on the team, followed closely by Devontae Smith, last year's first-round draft pick. I think he showed signs of greatness. I mean, all those tippy-toe catches, you know what I mean? It was just a beautiful thing to watch an actual Eagles wide receiver make those outstanding catches, and I think he's just going to take it to the next level this year, especially going up against a lot of CB2s and even some 3s. So I think Devontae is going to have an amazing year. We'll talk about that more in other videos down the line. Quez Watkins, I think he's wide receiver number 3, our main slot guy, who can also go very deep. He's one of the fastest players, if not the fastest player in the NFL. So I could see us, using him a lot more, especially on some, just some screens, some bubble screen. I think he's going to get some more action this year, and we're going to utilize his speed as much as possible. Number 4, I would say wide receiver 4 would be Zach Pascal. Okay, so I think, I will say this though, Jalen Reagor has had a very impressive camp, but as you and I know, he's done this before. Every single year he's been with the Eagles, he has an impressive camp, and then games start and he fizzles out and pretty much disappears for most, if not all of the season. So I'm not getting my hopes up for him, but he's been solid, and maybe as a wide receiver 3 or 4, he can shine and be a legit football player instead of a bust, So we're gonna see what happens with him. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with Jalen Reagor. I think that 6th position is up for grabs. And originally, I thought Greg Ward was going to get it. He's the safe pick. He's kind of like the guy who can go in there and pretty much do like pretty much everything solid. He's like an average guy, but he's solid in the red zone for what it's worth. He had a couple touchdowns last year. I think Jalen has a solid rapport with him as far as timing. So I think he's ahead right now, but I think he's followed closely by Britton Covey. Britton Covey is a punt return specialist. He recently was bumped up to punt returner 1 in the last practices. So maybe he's doing so well and he's doing solid in his routes. I've been hearing that he's been beating guys on one-on-one drills, showing some solid speed, showing some solid route running. So I think, as of right now, I think we're going to go with the young legs, who can actually bring us some excitement in the punt game and the punt return game. And I think Greg Ward, I think he's maybe seen his last days as an Eagle, because he's also been banged up, and you can't make the club if you're in the tub. So if he's gonna be banged up throughout throughout training camp, and Britton Covey goes in there and shines during preseason, maybe breaks one loose for a touchdown, or at least shows signs that he can be a legit returner, I could definitely see him making the roster over Greg Ward. It would be kind of sad to see Greg Ward go, but he's been a solid Eagle. He may get a chance somewhere else. So we'll see what happens with that. But as of right now, I have Greg Ward as the guy on the outside looking in. I think Britton Covey is actually the wide receiver 6 for us. So let's go straight into tight ends. This one's pretty simple for me. Dallas Goedert, obviously, he's going to be balling out all year. Can't wait for that. Jack Stoll, he's at a nice camp. He did fine last year as well. He did solid whenever his name was called. He's a good run blocker. I think he's a solid tight end too. And then we got the new rookie, Grant Calcaterra, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I will do better at that pronunciation, but as of right now, he's cute. He's tight end 3, and I think he's shown, as far as the hamstring goes, hopefully that doesn't linger. But as of right now, if he can get back into camp and he can stay healthy, I think he's gonna, slide into that tight end 3 position. I think he'll actually get some snaps during the regular season as well, even at that tight end 3 position. He'll probably use them, in other ways, but he can definitely go out there and catch the ball. Obviously, he's had some concussion issues in college, so we got to keep an eye on that. That's the reason why he pretty much walked away from the game. So let's keep an eye on his health, but I think he's a lock for that number 3. And obviously, we got J.J. Arcega-Whiteside trying to transfer over from a wide receiver. We got Noah in there. We also brought back Richard Rodgers, but we'll see, man. I don't know. I think we'll just stash Richard Rodgers and we'll use him kind of like how we did last year. If we need a tight end, we always know we can. Hey, buddy, we need you. We got a couple guys out, and he'll answer the call and he'll be there for us. So I don't think anyone else in the league is looking to sign him. So I think he is a practice squad guy or cut and keep him on, hold for later on. Moving down the offensive line, so we got Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Jason Kelsey, Isaac Sayamalu, Lane Johnson, Andre Dillard, Cam Jurgens, Jack Driscoll, Sua Opeta, and I think that's where we're going to keep it. Obviously, we'll probably have a couple guys on the practice squad, but I think that those are our 9 offensive linemen who are going to make the squad. On the defensive line, I know Hassan Reddick is actually listed as a linebacker, but he's going to be on the line. He's going to be on that defensive line predominantly, so I'm putting him in this category. So Hassan Reddick, Fletcher Cox, returning, I think, for his 11th season. Javon Hargrave, he had a pretty good start to the season last year. Started off fast, kind of tailed down a little bit. So we're going to see maybe if we can adjust his snaps or something, keep his energy high going throughout the whole season. That's where we want him. We don't want him to, tail down as the season goes, but he had a very good year last year. Brandon Graham coming back from that, horrible injury that sometimes can ruin a career, but he came back strong. He's been looking great in practice. I heard he's got a couple sacks in drills, so I'm very excited to have BG back in Midnight Green. Milton Williams, who I have a lot of high hopes for. This guy is a beast in the weight room. He throws up a lot of weight. He's very strong. I think he's gonna have a better year than last year. Last year he had flashes. This year he's gonna actually show consistency, and I'm looking forward to Milton Williams. Josh Sweat, you know what I mean? He's gonna be doing his thing this year. He made the Pro Bowl last year, so I think he's gonna have a good year this year as well. Derek Barnett. we all have our little quarrels with Derek Barnett. I think, sometimes he can be a bit of a bonehead out there and, make some, some PIs, not PIs, but some penalties out there. Some bonehead type of penalties, man. But he's back with us. So, he's an Eagle, so we're going to ride with him. And then we got the big man, Jordan Davis, the rookie, the Jolly Green Giant. I can't wait to see him in Midnight Green, just throwing dudes around, treating people like rag dolls. Can't wait for that. And then Marlin Tua Polutu. He's he didn't really even play for us last year. So this year, I've heard that he's actually been pretty good in camp. He's shown signs of improvement. He obviously got better over the summer. He made adjustments to his game, and I think he'll actually be solid for us as well. Linebackers, okay, so I'm very excited for this linebacking crew, as you should as well as a Birds fan. So Kaiser White. So last year, he should have been a Pro Bowler, man. This guy had a grip of tackles. He was flying over the field. He's good in pass pro. I think this guy is going to shine for us this year, and I can't wait to see Kaiser White ball out. And then we got TJ Edwards, who had a very, very good year last year. Sneaky good. You know what I mean? He made a lot of improvements, especially in pass protection. He was deflecting balls, getting interceptions. He was always around the ball, and that's what I love. A linebacker who will give that effort, who maybe won't make the initial tackle, but he'll be there in the gang tackle. He'll be there to help you get that ball runner down, and I cannot wait to see TJ Edwards another year in Midnight Green. And we got Davion Taylor. So Davion Taylor hasn't played as much because he had injuries, but I think this guy has a lot of talent. And this year he's healthy. He's performing in camp. He's doing very well. I think he's a big reason why our defense has improved a lot, especially with that linebacking core, because Nakobe Dean, as talented as he is, he's still a rookie. He's still coming along. He's learning. And Nakobe seems like a guy who is really going to just get better and better and better. I think he just needs time, and he's obviously going to be our linebacker 4 to start the season. Then we got Sean Bradley and Kyron Johnson, who I actually have some high hopes for, and I think we're going to bring back Patrick Johnson as well. So I have us bring back 7 linebackers. So let's go to the cornerbacks. Okay, so Darius Slay, a.k.a. Big Play. He's CB1. We got CB2, James Bradbury. He's been doing his thing in camp. Everybody's been majorly impressed by him. So he's leaving an impression on both sides of the ball, and that's a good thing. So I'm very excited to see him replace Stevie Nelson as CB2. And then we also have Avonte Maddox in the slot. He's going to be doing his thing. He's one of the best slot corners in the league. So I just expect nothing less than what he did last year. He just needs to stay healthy, and he'll perform for us. Zach McPherson, he's a guy who's been coming along. He's a 4th-round pick from last year out of Houston Tech, I believe. He hasn't really showed us much yet, but supposedly Slay has taken him under his wing. So maybe we'll see some improvements if he gets some PT this year. And then we got Tae Gowan. I think Tae Gowan is actually a solid player. Supposedly he's been a little handsy in practice as far as, one-on-ones. So we're going to have to watch that, because I do not like cornerbacks who create a lot of penalties. That's one thing that's one of my pet peeves. So if he can play clean and he can continue to improve as a young player himself, I would love to see him in Midnight Green as well as the 5th cornerback on the roster. Safeties. So this has obviously been a major conversation this year. Marcus Epps, what he can or cannot do. He was one of the best safeties last year, according to PFF, Pro Football Focus. So he only played limited snaps. I think he played about 60 to 70% of the snaps last year. So him as the full-time starter, I'm actually very excited. He's picked off Jalen Hurts a couple times in practice. Supposedly he's been flying all in the backfield. So I'm just excited for Marcus Epps. I thought he played really well last year. Whenever he got an opportunity, I thought he played solid for us. And I think people are sleep on him. So wake up. Marcus Epps is going to be our starter. So whether you like it or not, get ready. He's going to ball out for us this year. We're bringing back Anthony Harris. Obviously, he was dealing with some foot injuries last year. He didn't have his he didn't have a full year of like showing us what he can actually do. I was excited for him last year, but that excitement tailed down as his injuries piled up. He just got beat a couple times. He was dropping some interceptions that you would think he would pick off. So we'll see how he does in year 2 with us. But hopefully being in the system 2 times the back-to-back years will help him as far as, just making some plays back there and not thinking so much. Jaquisi Tart. I think Tart is actually nice. Obviously, we all know he had that big drop in the playoffs, which was horrible. But you know what? You know what I liked about him after the game? He took full accountability. You know what I mean? And that's big for me, especially playing defense. You have to really hold yourself accountable because the tape doesn't lie. You either drop the interception or you catch it. You either, get beat or you're on lockdown. You know what I mean? So it's like the tape will never tell lies, and I appreciate a guy like Tart who will go out there, take full responsibility, take accountability for dropping what should have been an easy interception for him. So I think that motivated him. I think being on the Birds and having, a chance to play starter-like minutes, I think that's going to motivate him as well. And I'm excited to see Tart play. I thought he was actually pretty solid last year for the 49ers. And then we got my man, Sasha Ray. He's a baller, man. This guy is, he's underrated, I think. I think he was an ace last year in special teams. He was always one of the first guys to, the punt returner. He just goes out there and handles his business. And I think Sasha Ray is one of those players that we have to keep an eye on who can possibly get some snaps at safety this year because he's been pretty good in camp. He's got back-to-back picks, I think in practice 3 and 4. So he's obviously, he's obviously flying around the field back there. And I think, who knows? Maybe he could be one of those guys who we sign, who we maybe think is just maybe a practice guy or just one of those guys who can come in there and spot duty. No, maybe actually he can go in there and actually get us snaps and be very productive. So I'm actually excited for Sasha Ray. And then we got Kayvon Wallace. I think Kayvon Wallace is on the bubble. I think he's on the bubble, but as of right now, I'll keep him on my active 53, but he's on the bubble because, we can only give you so many chances, man. He talks a lot, on social media. He's been, bigged up by, a lot of people, and then supposedly he hasn't been doing too much in practice. So he's on the bubble for me. And then we can just move down the list to Jake Elliott, Rick Lovato, and Aaron Sipos as our special team, kick guys. I think those guys are a lock. Aaron Sipos, though, I wouldn't mind, if he's not performing, if he's, shanking some balls, if he shanks one ball in preseason, we need to cut him next day and bring in someone else because we can't have a guy out there giving the opposition great field position. We can't do that. It's just something we can't do as a roster and expect to be, one of the top teams because that just little things like that will beat you. So we need a punter who will go out there and boot that rock down to the other end zone to give us the best position to cover punt returns and kick returns. So Aaron Sipos, you're on the bubble as well, brother. But as that is our 53-man roster. I mean, I think right there, it may be a couple players, may have some cuts, some surprise cuts, may make a few trades. But as far as the actual 53-man roster, I think I'm pretty on point right there as far as who's going to make the team and who's going to be cut. So if you agree with me, let me know in the comments. If you don't, let's talk about it, man. This is Eagles Real Talk. I love building and talking to you guys in the comments and seeing your opinion. So let me know who do you think is gonna make the team or who's gonna be cut. Let's go back and forth. Let me know. I'm Bri. This is Eagles Real Talk. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Share it with your friends. Put Eagles Real Talk in the group chat, in your Eagles group chat, and let's build this community. We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers. We're almost there, about 400 away. So help us build, help us grow, and keep flying with your boy. This is Eagles Real Talk. I'm Bri. Fly, Eagles, fly, and keep it real always.